let's dive into the 365 platform. So, typically you can find any 365 from around $650 to $800. You can find them for less if they're on sale, but don't pay over $800 for them. There are 3 different types. There are the regular 365, the 365 XL, and the 365X Macro. The regular 365 uses this frame. It's pretty small, it's a subcompact. The 365 XL uses this frame, which is a compact frame. And the X Macro uses this frame, which is more like a full-size frame, so more like a 320 size. The 365 shoots 9mm, so it's great for defensive and for CCW. The regular 365 grip is perfect for a CCW carry. This thing is tiny, but XL works great, and I have not tried the Macro yet, but I would assume that it probably works just as well too. Let's talk performance. My shooting experience with this guy has been phenomenal. When I first started out, like I said, it was a little bit small of a frame for me, but once I moved up to the X Macro, it felt phenomenal. This very quickly is becoming my favorite handgun to shoot. The recoil is almost non-existent for a subcompact for a 3.9-inch barrel. That's pretty wild, but we'll get into later on to why the recoil feels as good as it does, because there's some aftermarket parts that I put into this to make it shoot even better. When I originally got it, using it with this grip, it was very snappy. So know that when you get this stock 365, it will be very snappy, especially for a 9mm. It's pretty snappy. But like I said, later on in the video, we'll talk about what fixes that. The accuracy is pretty good for a subcompact firearm. It shoots very close to my Glock 34, which is a full-sized handgun. So the fact that it can compare to that speaks for itself. It is a pistol, so it's not going to be more accurate than a rifle or anything like that. So accuracy is not the biggest concern, but for a pistol, the accuracy is great. Reliability, I would say that this is one of the most reliable pistols I've had. So my Glock 34, I've run 115, 124, 124 plus P, and 147 and 147 plus P through pretty much most of my pistols. My Glock 34 ran the 115, the 124, and the 147 plus P and the 124 plus P. It did not run the 147 regular, which is this stuff right here. My Glock 34 does not run this reliably. It jams every couple rounds because it's a longer barrel, it's ported, and it doesn't cycle as well with this stuff. Now, this guy has no cycling issues whatsoever. It runs whatever you put into it. 124 regular, 124 plus P, 115, 147 plus P, 147 regular, whatever you put into it, this thing will run it. I love it for that. So reliability, it gets a 10 out of 10. So I've used the 6 hours 9mm NATO V Crown, 124 grain plus P. I like this stuff a lot. I've used it for a while. It works pretty well. The plus P I like. For home defense, I would not recommend this, but I like it. I have fallen in love with Federal HST. This is just normal 9mm 124 grain. This stuff is beast. Look at videos of the wound channels they create in ballistic gel, and you'll understand why people run this all the time. I am hoping to get some ballistic gel in soon and run some stuff so I can show this to you guys, but the wound channel it makes is amazing. So if you want to see the box, this is what it looks like. Federal HST 124 grain, and you can see on the picture right here how it mushrooms out. This thing is a beast. It is scary what it can do. So I love this stuff. That's the main ammo I run through it. This is my range ammo. This is just some stuff that I've been trying to get through because I've had a ton of it because I wanted to try it out. But it's Blazer 147 grain. It's super dirty ammo. It's 147 grain, and this thing freaking eats it up, spits it out. It runs this shit like crazy. And I've had a lot of guns that can't run this. Let's go into how the trigger feels. So the trigger on this is good. It's nothing special. You can see this is unloaded. The firearm is safe. It is nothing special. There's a little bit of slack that you have to take up before you hit the wall, which that's not terrible. I've had handguns that are way worse, like CZs and such. But there's a little slack, and then it's a very clean trigger break. Now, the reset is nice. There's a little bit of take up, it's right there, but that click is a nice, very audible click. So yeah, I like the trigger. It's not bad. There are definitely aftermarket triggers you can buy, but I've honestly felt no need to change it. It does what it's supposed to, and it works. The pros and the cons of this guy. The first one is compact. So you can run this guy in freaking probably swim trunks and a tank top, and you wouldn't print on the shirt. It's one of the smallest frames I've ever had on a handgun. It's low recoil. Again, like I said, when you start out, it is not. But once you add some stuff and put some money into it, a little more money, it is very low recoil. Like I said, this guy, it is probably just as little recoil as my Glock 34. Again, a ported Glock 34, heavier frame, or a heavier barrel and slide and all that, and it still runs the same as that guy. Affordable is definitely affordable. 650 to 800. That's just above a Glock, and I would say that it outperforms the Glock in my opinion. And I grew up shooting Glocks. I love Glocks, but this is going to be my new go-to. It is also very affordable to shoot. If you've shot firearms for a while, you know that 9mm is one of the most affordable rounds, other than 22 long rifle and a few others like 3.8. But 9mm, you can shoot that all day for low prices, so you can get out, you can train with it. You don't have to wait and decide what days you want to shoot and things like that, or wait for a deal on ammo because it's super expensive or whatever. So not only is it affordable to buy it, but it's affordable to shoot it, which is very important. A lot of people don't talk about that, but that is very, very important. Another pro is that it is ergonomic. Parts are also super accessible. So, for example, on a Glock, in California and other states like that, the serialized part is the lower, so you can't change that. It is what it is. The trigger unit is what's serialized up in here. So that means I can change the frame, I can change the slide, I can change the barrel, I can add whatever I want to the muzzle. You can basically change every single thing apart this. You can still change the trigger too, because it's the trigger housing that's serialized. So you can change everything on this essentially. Glocks, you're stuck with the frame. If you want to run aluminum frame, you can't. You're stuck with polymer. If you want to have better grip on it, your options are tape or stipple. That's it. With this, it is like limitless. Let's go over to the con side. This does have a limited range. It's a 3.9 inch barrel. You can only push that so far. So it is what it is. You can get longer barrels for this. You can get up to a 4.3 inch barrel if you use the X macro grip. So you can extend the range a little bit, but again, it's a pistol, it's subcompact. Range is not something you're gonna get from that. The other negative, and this is the biggest con that I think this pistol has, are the magazines. They are $40 to $50 each. That is a very heavy price point. Now, they are metal, so they will last you a very long time. They're built pretty well. But again, if I want to buy 3-4 mags, you're going to be spending almost $200 just on magazines. Now, you look at Glocks, they're like 10-15 bucks each or something like that. So it's super easy to buy those. But that is the biggest downside to this that I would say it has against it. It's definitely gaining a lot of support, but the aftermarket parts is still not as much as Glock. I would say too that because it is popular and it's starting to gain more popularity, it is a lot harder to find parts for this. General parts are there, like general grips, things like that, but if you say, for example, want a really nice aftermarket aluminum grip and say you want Icarus grip, they're very hard to find because everybody wants them now and they're just not making enough yet. So I think that'll change. I think that's a kind of a temporary con, but it's hard to find some things. Now, let's get into the use cases for a 365. Why would you buy one of these? What would you use it for? The main role that it plays is going to be for CCW. It is compact and easy to carry. That's where it shines and that's where it'll live. I will expand on that in that I think it's a great CCW for women because a man, you're bigger, you're larger framed, you typically have a larger waist and hips and all those things. So it's easier to hide a macro size grip or like the full size grips like a 320, a 34, things like that. For women who are smaller and more petite, usually narrower, slimmer, all that stuff, it's a lot harder to carry a full size or even just a compact firearm on your person. So this is where I would say this frame comes in great. It is so small that you could easily hide this in a purse underneath like thin layers of clothing, like if you have a little like a skinny dress on or things like that. This is perfect for that. So I would say that the 365 definitely caters more towards women. I think it's a great firearm to look into if you're looking into getting your CCW. We were just talking about how for women this is great because they have smaller grips such as this one, and this is where my hand sits on it, so you can see my pinky hangs off. I brought my wife over here who you can see her hands are a lot smaller, and for most women this would fit perfectly. She can fit all three of her fingers on and it's relatively comfortable, right? She's nodding off camera, but yeah. So yeah, it's great. Now, for guys, it's still great for you too. I think it works great. I think that the regular grip would not work as well for men who tend to have fatter, bigger hands. Like I said, my pinky friggin' hangs off this thing and I hate shooting it this way because I feel like I'm shooting and drinking tea. Like I feel like I'm sipping it. The X Macro grip is definitely like, it fits perfectly. My hand, it fits perfectly. It feels great. This grip as well, which we'll go over a little later, is a lot fatter if you look at it like this. And so for guys, this will help too if you have fatter hands like I do. I can get a solid grip on this and I don't feel like I'm holding like a little skinny TV remote or iPhone or something. I feel like I'm actually gripping like a brick. Like it feels nice. Another, I guess, role for this, I would say CCW is the top. Next, I would say is it's just a fun range toy. Like I genuinely just enjoy shooting this thing. Like I'll go to the range, I'll be shooting my other firearms and stuff, and I'll just be like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot this guy today because I just enjoy shooting it. It's just fun. Another is home defense. You can use it for home defense. That kind of falls under CCW for me because they're kind of the same situations or same circumstances that you're considering for the firearm. The only thing is it doesn't have to be small. So I can change the frame to an X Macro and I can have this sitting in a safe or in my drawer all locked up, whatever, lockbox, whatever I want it to be in, and I think it does the job perfectly. The one thing that I will say that it is not meant for And I don't know, maybe somebody out there will do it and they'll build it out that way, but I doubt it, is for competitions. If you're a competition guy and you want to run your gun quick and do all the competition stuff, I don't think this is for you. Typically, you're gonna want a longer barrel, flared mag wells, gas pedals, big optics that are easy to see through, all that stuff. And yeah, this guy doesn't have most of that. It has some of it, but you're gonna want to get a much longer barrel, and maybe you can build it out. I don't know, maybe there are companies that sell longer barrels, like a 6-inch barrel or something like that you could put on here and build it out like a 34, like a 320, like an X5 or something like that. So you never know, but I just don't see this being that. And if you're gonna put money into building that, you might as well just get an X5 Legion or something else. We're gonna go over some comparisons. So I'm gonna compare this to my last CCW, my Glock 19. I put a lot of money into this, way more than I did this guy. And I loved it for a very long time until I got my hands on this guy. And these are the many reasons as to why. Is one, it is way smaller than my 19. The barrel is shorter, the grip is slightly longer, but it has a different angle, and even the trigger guard is smaller, and everything about it is just smaller. You look at it from the sides here, it is way skinnier than the Glock 19. Glock 19 is a lot fatter, so that is another positive that the 365 has over the 19. And you can see it more in the barrel too. This barrel is way blockier than this one. This guy was great, it did its job for a long time, but this guy's stepping in to take over in the modern day. I am very surprised at how much better this is than this. Again, I grew up shooting Glocks, I was a Glock fanboy. I still am, I still love my Glocks, but this just outperforms it in pretty much every aspect. That's my comparison. For steel frame guns, I typically don't consider them for a CCW purpose because it adds too much weight to your belt, in my opinion. I don't really want to be carrying a 10-pound weight in my crotch, so I just typically like the polymer frames. Now, I will still answer that question though. People are saying that their staccatos are the shit and they love that. They love their aluminum and steel frame guys. With a Glock, you're stuck with the polymer frame. But with the 365, you can have your aluminum frame. So now you can blend both worlds together. This aluminum frame right here, it's nice, it adds that little extra weight, but it's not too heavy. This isn't that hefty, it's nice, it's a good weight. Yeah, you can have aluminum. I'm looking at getting an Icarus grip. This is a Sharps Bros, but I'm looking at getting an Icarus grip too because I've heard that those are amazing and world changing. So I'm gonna pop one of those guys on my X macro and see how it runs. So I'll keep you guys updated on that one eventually. Some suggested upgrades that I would say you would want to get with this, just from my experience. First and foremost, I think this is a necessity. You should not go without doing this. Especially women, I think this will make this gun a game changer, and I think you'll fall in love with it if you get this. It's the Radiant Afterburner and Ramjet. I got the Radian, slapped it on. It felt like a different gun. It shot completely differently. There was no recoil, snappiness was gone. It felt phenomenal, and it was all because of this guy. So for $300 to $400, absolutely get that. Now, my next upgrade that I would say you should look into is obviously a red dot. I've always run just red dots. I've never run green dots. And as this is kind of a experimental build, I decided, fuck it, let's get a Hollow Sun green dot. And so I got the HE507K in green. I love green dots now. When I would present my firearm and get my good sight picture and everything, with the red dot, it was always easy to see it. It was always there, and you know, that's what I'm used to. But I had heard that green dots, supposedly your brain, it's easier for it to see and it's more apparent to you. And I was curious. I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, so let's test it. And I feel like it is. I noticed my green dot way quicker. It's right there every single time. And my mechanics aren't different. Nothing's changed. Everything's the same. I just noticed it quicker. And it's interesting. I don't know what part of my monkey brain is freaking hitting, but it's working. So I would definitely look into getting a Hollow Sun green dot. I like it a lot. It runs really, really well. For guys, I definitely would look into getting a macro grip. It is longer in the grip part and it's a little bit longer on the slide portion, up by the slide. Compare these two. There you go. So you can see. Trigger guard's the same, back end's the same. This is a little bit different, and this is a little bit different. I really like the standard SIG grip because you have these, which allow you to change the backstrap size. So I really like the ability to change the backstrap size to fit hands, and I think that those little bits you will notice. If you shoot a lot, you will notice it. It is also really cool because there are companies that make backstraps that are aluminum, and so if you say want a blend of a polymer and aluminum frame, you can do that. Radian has one. I haven't tried it, but I want to. Radian has a backstrap for this and a magwell for it that makes this whole back half aluminum, which adds weight to the back of the gun, which will help make it shoot a little bit flatter. There are also companies like, I believe, NDZ Performance, I believe is the name of it. They make aluminum backstraps here that are weighted, so they specifically add weight to the back of the gun. I really like that. That is an awesome customizability, is that, say I don't want to buy a whole entirely new aluminum frame for $300, $400. I can go and buy, a $20 or $30 weighted aluminum backstrap, pop that guy in, and have a little bit of a blend. And you can also see if you like it. Say it shoots a little flatter, you really like it, you start to like it, and you realize, oh, maybe I do want to spend the money on it. It's a nice middle ground. There are also aluminum frames for your 365. This is an XL one. There are X Macro, there are regular ones, there's all the above. This is by Sharps Bros. I really like this one because it is fatter. So for guys, we have bigger hands. You can grab it, it's easier to grab onto. And the biggest thing I like is there's a gas pedal. Gas pedals are great. So when I'm holding this, I can put my thumb right on there and I can just drill that baby down and just hold it there. I would not use this for CCW stuff. It drags on you. It's not that sharp, it's pretty dull, but if you're drawing quickly out of a holster that's appendix carry or even 3 o'clock, this baby's gonna drag against your skin and rub against your hip bone and all that stuff, and it's not fun. I would recommend not for CCW getting one with a gas pedal. Of course, try it yourself if you really feel like you want the gas pedal and you're like, well, no, I'm a man about it, I'm strong, I can take it. Go for it, try it out. I personally do not like it, but for shooting it at the range, or if you have it for home defense, the gas pedal is awesome. So those are a few of the upgrades that I would recommend. The one thing I will say about their magazines, so I love this about their magazines, and this is for the cost, it's okay, it's kind of worth it. It is, but it isn't. Is that you have your regular base plate, your flat ass normal base plate. If I get a XL mag, it is slightly bigger. If I get my X Macro mag, it's a lot bigger. Now, all these magazines fit into this frame. Boom, fits in perfectly. This one will also fit. Boom, fits in, but there's a big gap right here, and it can wiggle. The X macro also fits, but even bigger gap. Now, what's really fun, when you order these mags, they come with these. So with this one, you swap your base plate out for this one, put this guy on, and now when your mag is in, for example, an XL, it'll sit flush with this. Now if I had a normal XL grip, this would line up perfectly. You will see what I mean with this one. When you put this guy in, I have this other one that's even larger. This lines up perfectly with that. So this can sit perfectly in here. And so when the magazine's in there, it is all lined up perfectly. What's super cool with this is it makes your grip larger. So I have my X macro grip again, but that means I can use any mags in there. So if you buy X macro mags and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get, a regular size grip, and then you're like, oh shoot, I can't use my mags in it. Wrong, you can. If you have an XL and you want to use macro mags in them, you can. You want to use XL mags in the regular SIG, you can. It's all interchangeable. You can go from bigger to smaller, but you can't go from smaller to bigger, if that makes sense. I really like that. I think that's a really cool feature that gives, again, more modularity and more additions of stuff that you can do. So, and more combinations that you can run stuff with. So those are my upgrades that I would add. And that's kind of my my full review on this guy. I really, really like this. It's way better than my Glock. I'm kind of pissed I spent so much money upgrading it, but it looks dope as fuck, so it'll be a safe queen. But this guy is my workhorse now. This is the one that this is going to do everything. I'm gonna CCW carry this everywhere. Truck gun, home defense gun, and my fun range toy that I just shoot all the time because I enjoy it. Get one of these babies. Trust me, you will not regret it. In conclusion, the 365 is fucking awesome. I love it. I think it is perfect for CCW. I think it's great. I think it's great for everyone. I think all guys can use it. I think it's great for women, especially. Overall, I think I would rate this a 9 out of 10. Like I said, the only cons are that magazines are expensive and that the aftermarket support is not quite where I would want it to be. Other than that, though, it's amazing. It's awesome. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.